Westworld. We haven't been doing it week to week, and the reason why...
Yeah, we couldn't.
Is because of timing, because we record these on Sundays, and then Westworld airs on Sundays, and, it just doesn't work with our timing. But we have each watched week to week.
Yes.
And we have watched the entire season.
series.
We had like 3 season finales, like they're right in
the
week.
Yeah.
But anyway, Westworld, man.
Dude.
Holy shit. First of all, Anthony Hopkins
is fantastic
in this. Cyclops is great.
James Marsden, yeah.
Yeah, the kid who was in Always Sunny in Philadelphia who plays William.
Jimmy
was great.
I can't remember what his last name is. His first name is Jimmy, though.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Arthur.
Yeah.
And / Bernard. Spoilers. Yeah, this is going to be totally spoilery.
Oh, yeah.
If you've never seen it. I mean,
also Arnold, not Arthur.
Bern Arnold.
Yeah. Bern Arnold.
Teresa's dead.
Yeah. Who cares?
The board is dead.
Well, they might be.
Dead. Okay, so basically, Westworld, based off the 1973 movie by Michael Crichton,
which we will be talking
we're gonna
about
talk later. It's a theme park where you can go and live out your fantasy of being a cowboy or living in the Old West, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have adventures with all these hosts, which are basically robots.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have a different narrative. So if you kind of like engage with one, they're going to lead you on this storyline.
Mm-hmm.
That may have branching paths depending on the decisions that you make. And it's all closely monitored by the company, Delos, or Delos, that, they're running the park from behind the scenes. They've got like little tablets that can turn on and off the hosts at their will, and they can adjust
change their
attributes.
programming. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's such a crazy concept, even though it's based off of an old movie. They've definitely done a lot. It's a very different story.
Oh yeah.
So the main host is Dolores.
Yes.
And we see
the oldest host in the park.
Right. And we see Bernard talking to her and kind of like interrogating her in some ways, I guess.
Mm.
And she's kind of like flipping out. I mean, it's how do we do a whole overview of an entire season of a show?
One step at a time.
One step at a time. All right, you take it from here. You're better. You collect. Let me collect my thoughts.
All right. So we've got in the very first episode we had Teddy. Teddy arriving on the train,
and we thought he was a real dude.
You think maybe Teddy's a real person because you are introduced to Dolores as a host. Mm-hmm. You see them create some other hosts and you see them interacting and stuff like that. But Teddy, you just see riding into town on the train.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know because at the end of that first episode, he's killed. You're
like,
what
the fuck?
Oh, he's a host. He's been a host this whole time.
God, he's a goddamn synth.
Nice Fallout reference.
Thank you.
I like that.
I say that in almost every damn episode. Like, damn synth. Anyway.
So you also meet the Man in Black in that first episode.
Who is, like, for all intents and purposes, portrayed as, like, the main villain of the show. Because he's going around and he's just shooting people.
Brutalizing.
Dragging Dolores off to the barn to do God knows what.
And, we know what.
Well, yeah.
We know what.
He's getting a little rapey. So you're just like, what the fuck? And maybe he just represents that part of everybody that just wants to go there just to wreak havoc, and shoot people. Because
and he absolutely does.
Oh,
by the end of this season's narrative, we know exactly who he is, why he does the things he does, and he is a horrible person.
Right.
And he has a very singular personal reason why he does all that
and
stuff,
also
too.
in the series, we meet William and Logan.
Yeah.
Who William is Logan's brother-in-law to be.
Yeah.
They both work for the same company, a large company. We don't know which one.
At the beginning. We don't.
And, they're kind of checking the place out. And Logan has been, but William, he's a greenhorn, man.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't much of a rind on him.
Oh, Clementine.
Oh, my darling. And Clementine and Maeve, the whores.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word.
No, that is accurate.
They're whores.
They are whores.
And they whore around.
They They do some whoring.
They do some hella whoring. But anyway.
Tandy Newton, by the way, is spectacular in this show.
She's Maeve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tandy Newton. I've loved Tandy Newton in almost everything I've seen her in. But
What else has she been in?
Spectacular in this. Did you ever see the movie Run, Fat Boy, Run?
No.
With Sean from Shaun of the Dead.
No.
She plays his ex-wife, the mother of his child in that movie, and she is fantastic. And she's like engaged to I can't remember who played the douchey.
Well, let's
we're getting off topic. We're getting off topic. Either way, Tandy Newton's awesome.
Tandy Newton, you're great. So moving ahead, some things are starting to happen. We find out that the hosts can't even hurt a fly. Well, at the end of what was the first episode, Dolores slaps a fly.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh shit. Stuff's
shit.
about to go down.
Yeah.
And
because that is one of the first things that you hear about the hosts.
Completely safe.
It's completely safe. They can't hurt any of the guests. They can't even hurt a fly.
Right.
And the end of that first episode, Dolores murders her motherfucking fly.
She hurts a damn fly.
Yes, she does.
And then you're just like, oh. So now we got to watch the
something's
next
going
episode.
on.
So anyway, fast forward.
There is a new programming technique that is being used
reveries.
in the hosts that Bernard is talking about. He is the head of behavior, the design of these hosts' ability to interact with each other and with the guests, just their cognitive processes. He's in charge of all of that. And he's talking about this latest
they had an update, like a patch.
This latest update that Robert Ford, Anthony Hopkins' character, has installed in all the hosts. They're called the reveries. The ability to remember.
To member.
There is a lot of membering going on, by the way.
Membering in this podcast.
Yeah.
But anyway,
but the reveries are very important.
Yeah, and we're starting to see some hosts glitch out, like Dolores' dad glitches the fuck out. And Dolores is starting to like kind of not really understand what's kind of going on. And there's just we can't really get into all of it. Like Teddy, he starts to remember stuff. Maeve starts to remember stuff. Meanwhile, the man in black, he's looking for this maze.
Yeah.
And looking for the center of the maze. He's like, I've done every damn storyline in this park, but there's a story that's deeper. And it's the maze where the stakes are real. Ford is trying to introduce a new storyline. Or there's all this talk about this new storyline and this character called Wyatt. And, there's like... the man in black kind of goes off onto that storyline with Teddy, and they're trying to find this Wyatt who's doing like horrible things to other hosts.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, William and Logan, William meets Dolores, and he kind of goes off onto her storyline. And Logan's like a dick the whole time.
Yeah, Logan is a dick. But since Dolores is having these reveries, she's also having all of these strange memories in all these places that they're going. And we find out through the course of the story that these things are still all related to the maze that the man in black is investigating.
Is looking for. And the man in black keeps being told, it's not for you.
The maze isn't for you.
It's not for you. But of course he doesn't listen because he's a loser. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Actually, we do get I remember the earliest glimpse into who the man in black really was is whenever another guest goes up to him and is like, hey man, you've really done a lot. I admire you. Your foundation helped my sister and all that kind of stuff. And the man in black's like, say another word and I'm going to fucking punch the shit out of you or something like that. So we're like, okay,
I'm on
so
vacation.
He's a well-known person.
He is theoretically a good person in the outside world.
In the outside world.
But he is a very dark individual.
Dark.
In Westworld.
Individual.
But
anyway, so Teresa, that's her name, right?
Yeah.
She's fucking Bernard.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
And she's like the corporate liaison with Delos.
Yeah. And the Delos chick shows up.
Charlotte?
The girl from the... and we're going to be skipping a lot of stuff here.
Oh, yeah.
But the girl from Delos shows up to kind of like put her foot down or whatever that she's doing, make sure things are running the right way or whatever.
She's fucking tired of...
She's just sick and tired of being sick and tired.
She's sick and tired of Ford's fucking around with the hosts.
Yeah.
And... utilizing so much of the park for his new narrative.
Right, and she's like, we got a fucking business to run, motherfucker.
Exactly.
Capitalism, bitch.
So she is trying to get the board to vote to kick him to the curb.
Right. And he's all like, they've tried before. But anyway, so Teresa and, what'd you say her name was?
I think it was Charlotte.
Charlotte, they kind of hatch a plan to show that the hosts are dangerous with this new update. And they take Clementine.
Yeah.
And she, like, assaults another person who we think is a security guy, but turns out he's a host, too.
Yeah.
And they're just like, look, this shit can't go on. She fires Bernard.
And Ford's just like, okay.
Right. And, before we go any further, we need to mention that Ford had a partner named Arnold.
Yes.
That helped him start the park.
And virtually no one else that works there knows that Arnold even existed.
Right. Or they hear the name and then just like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And so anyway, Bernard gets fired.
Yes.
Teresa goes up to him and he's like, this is bullshit. You guys fucking concocted that shit. And I'm going to fucking show you some shit. And he takes her to this like shack or whatever out in the wilderness.
Yeah, it's in a section of the park that is like blacklisted. No hosts or guests are supposed to be allowed to go there.
How come no hosts see this? And she's like, well, they're programmed not to see it.
Yeah.
And so they go inside and they're looking around and she's like, what's this door? And he's like, what door? And at that moment,
At that moment, Bernard.
Something fucky is going on.
Bernard, potentially a host?
Right. Well, they go through the door. She finds like a picture of like a blueprint of a host that looks like
exactly
Bernard.
Like Bernard.
And she's like, look at this. And he's like, it doesn't look
like anything
to
me, which is a thing that all the hosts say whenever they are confronted with something that
they're not
take
supposed
them
to see.
Exactly. There's a picture of a woman in New York City that Abernathy, Dolores' father, finds.
Yeah.
And that picture drives him insane.
Right. And she looks at it and she's like, it doesn't look like anything to me. So anyway, we're like, oh, fuck. Bernard's a host. Holy shit. And that was like the first like big reveal.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, and since the beginning of this show, there have been, fan theories out the wazoo.
And a lot of them are true.
And yeah, most of the major ones ended up being true.
Yeah.
The first of them being Bernard is a host.
So Ford, it turns out, built Bernard, and he has Bernard kill Teresa.
Yeah. Smashes her head like a grape.
And Bernard is like having trouble like coming to grips with the fact that he's a host, but Bernard's like, dude, this has happened before. You found out before, but we we just sweep that under the rug.
Yeah.
I guess we need to start talking about Maeve
too.
Painful.
Yes, because
Maeve starts glitching out. Hardcore.
Maeve again with the Reverie update. Maeve accesses all of these old memories that she has no business being able to remember.
Right. Memories of being killed repeatedly, memories of a daughter that she had in an old narrative, memories of her being in the like cold storage or whatever area that they
when
operate
she was
on
being
the hosts. Seeing a bunch of dead hosts and shit. She starts remembering all that.
She starts remembering, and then she starts waking up.
Yep.
When she is in that reconstruction area,
and she befriends Felix. Who he's one of like the surgeons or whatever.
But he's trying
surgeons.
to learn how to become a coder.
Right.
We see him messing with a little robot bird.
Yeah.
And trying to get the coding on it right so that it can actually fly and do bird things.
Bird stuff.
Hashtag bird stuff.
But his partner, I can't remember his name. Sylvester.
Remember? Because they're both named after cartoon cats.
Oh, I didn't. I never made that connection.
I just thought that was funny. Felix and Sylvester.
Right. So anyway, she starts waking up. She kind of gets Felix on like her side.
Yeah.
She starts having them like reprogram her and like raise her attributes.
Yeah.
Her stats.
Because they have like qualifying
like intelligence.
Yeah, aggression. An intelligence score.
Think about it like an RPG.
A charm score.
Like,
her charm score is off the roof
Right.
because she's a fucking prostitute.
Yeah. Think about it like Fallout. You've got strength, perception, endurance,
Charisma. Yeah.
intelligence, agility. You know,
And so
luck.
she has them max her intelligence.
Right.
And I think her charisma was already maxed.
Right, and she can start reprogramming other hosts.
Yeah.
By speaking to them. And
she has them give her administrative privileges.
Right, and her
she
whole
has
thing-
the ability to create new narratives just by speaking them.
And her whole thing is that she wants to get out. But the hosts are wired with explosives. And if they leave past a certain point, in the park, they explode. And she has Felix and Sylvester like turn that off or make a new spine for her or whatever.
Yeah. And give her the ability to sort of build an army.
Right.
Which, I mean, in the end, her army is not particularly huge, but it's super effective.
Yeah.